So crypto starting to break out. Let's look at Bitcoin, Ether, and then let's look at the treasury companies. So why is Bitcoin up today? Well, the answer is liquidity and cost of money. It would have been up today even without any events in Venezuela, I think, but the Venezuela events add to the narrative of inflation down, rates down. We have this relaxation in bank capital requirements, which means more money in the system tends to flow to the riskiest assets. So you think Bitcoin and Ether should benefit. Bitcoin trades really nicely to technicals. This is a long-term chart, starts down at the COVID lows at 3,500, peaks out at 69,000 in October 21, 78.6 retrace down here. Again, that 78.6 retrace, important low. That's where biotech is right now, right there. That's where tech was in 2022, right there. Bitcoin then puts in just over a 1.618 wave 3 high, hits that in October, and then has put in, look, a 38.2 wave 4 retrace. Now, you've had all sorts of people squealing about Bitcoin and saying it's all over and all of that, but it's just a wave 4. It's a 38.2 retrace, and now it should be able to move up in this wave 5 high and finish out somewhere between, let's say, 140 and 180, let's say. And then if this chart's correct, then it's going to dump pretty hard. Okay, if that's a wave 5 high in a 5-wave cycle that started at 3,500 and the wave 5 is finishing at 140,000, then the correction will be brutal. But I think for now it can run up. The volume story, by the way, is pretty interesting. This is your low here. All the volume in this period below 70,000, and it didn't even begin to trouble down there. So everyone that was panicking and getting liquidated up here, this is just levered late longs. These people just bought late on too much leverage. Simple as that. Ether. The Ether chart is very, very bullish. It's so bullish, it's sort of hard to believe, really. So I think we have to take it step by step. So let's look at what it tells us. Ether is in, I think, a 5-wave cycle up that started in so it hit a low, Liberation Day low was 7th of April. Yeah. Let's look at the volume again. Okay, so from the April lows, there's a high volume node here at around 2,700 that it doesn't drop below. Okay, so that's respected in this sell-off from almost 5,000 in August down to a low of 2,600 in November. And this volume node here high volume node was respected. We're probably in a wave 3 up now. So where would you expect that to go? Well, if it's a wave 3 up, it will get to 5,000. So it has to get over the wave 1. It's a wave 3. It should get to 6,100 and it might get to 8,400. So we've set an 8,000 target from the current 3,200. Now, looks fanciful. Obviously, all bull market charts look fanciful when you draw them. When things are starting to accumulate and then break out, they all look ridiculous. But of course, sometimes these things come to pass. You factor in the backdrop of Ether being now quite widely adopted as use in tokenization of equities. JP Morgan recently launching funds on the Ethereum blockchain. It is becoming a very, very mainstream thing. And that fundamental setup plus this chart is pretty bullish. So we'll see, but I think Ether is in good shape. If we look at the treasury companies which have been really beaten up, so here's your daily chart for SharpLink, it's just starting to break up and over the lows. So if we zoom in a bit here, you have a double tested low of around 878, 875 that was hit in November, retested last week, Wednesday, New Year's Eve, and then 2 very strong days. So on Friday, it opens over the 8-day, hits the 21-day, and can't quite clear the 21-day. Today, it opens over the 21-day and is moving up and starting to think about this 50-day here. So this is the start of I think what's going to be a useful breakout. Next test, obviously, break up and over the 50-day at around $11. The 200-day is still upward sloping. That's good. So, the $11 will be a fight, and then $15 will be a fight. But I think this is shaping up pretty well. Let's look at BitMiner. Same story, really. So if we zoom in, the low was in November, and then Friday opened below the 8-day, hits the 21-day, so closes right below the 21-day on Friday. And then today, that's really important. Like it opened, oh wow, okay. So look, today it opened over the 200-day. Okay, can't say how important that is. And it closed again above it. So it has to cross the 50 up here, but that, okay, that's a really important move today. So over the 200-day, that's very bullish for Bitcoin, I would say. So crypto, I think, is in a pretty constructive position if this move in the markets is primarily liquidity driven, as in if it is primarily a function of plentiful cheap money and fiscal policy stimulus, then this will be a short-lived run-up in crypto, and it will keel over faster than equities. So we have to be careful. But the fact is that right now these look like bullish moves in crypto.